Welcome to This Week with T&E. We're going to be doing our Wants and Needs Challenge. So we started off by identifying our needs, the basics, food, water, shelter. And then we took a look at all of our wants, what we have. Just an example, some of our wants would be a gym membership, convenient food options, even hot water could be a want. You don't really need that. Music, cruise control. So those are our wants. They're not going to severely impact what you need to continue your life sustainably, which is what we defined a need as. So we're going to be cutting out our wants and taking a look and analyzing if it's been beneficial, the improvements we've seen, the struggles that we've had throughout it. And we'll start off by introducing all the wants that we're going to be cutting out this week.
What's going on, everyone? For the Wants and Needs Challenge, I'm going with cutting back on music, social media, podcasts, audiobooks, etc. I'm doing this because I'm an anxious person by nature, so I feel like relearning how to sit in silence will benefit me greatly. So that's why I'm going with this one.
Okay, so I will be giving up fast food. This is going to be something that I'm looking forward to. I'm going to be gaining a little bit better physical health, making sure I have more energy throughout the day, making sure that's more consistent, have some better workouts, so it should hopefully bring me some more mental clarity and a little bit better decision making. I do have some factors pushing against me. I am living on the road right now out of a hotel, so fast food, quick fix, but it's not really the best option for me, so we'll see how it goes.
How are you guys? This is Himrani speaking. Wanted to go over my wants and needs real quick. I'll just do a little overview of like what was mainly focused on. One was like financial health and the other was my, physical health. One thing that I was spending a lot of money on was just like buying coffee every day in the morning. It's only $3 per day, but at the end of the day or at the end of the month, it adds up to like $90, $120. And I wasn't really happy about that and wanted to cut that out. So that was the main part of my wants and needs. And the other was like not buying food and alcohol like from outside, not going out and just mainly meal prepping and actually having, control over my day. It was really tough, but those two things were really important to me. It was like the little wants that were cut out to just get my needs completed, but you'll get to see how it went.
Throughout the wants and needs challenge, my biggest struggle was organizing and planning out my day. It was also kind of making sure that I had the resources available to me to have those healthy meals, not to set myself up for failure. So I had to kind of plan ahead a little bit. And another thing was I had to spend a little bit more money at the grocery store compared to normal, but in the end, that is going to save me some money. What other struggles did you have, Joe?
So with giving up like music and podcasts and all that stuff, I think the biggest struggle was just learning to sit in silence, to observe the things going on around you rather than sort of tuning them out and just being focused, like constantly having like a stimuli of music, podcasts, YouTube, etc. When all of that's gone and it's just you sitting there doing whatever you're doing, you're like, holy crap, like it's really quiet right now. And then you notice like how you're thinking, your thought patterns, etc. And like I mentioned in my intro, I'm, pretty anxious person. So, it wasn't the most positive thinking going on when, it's all silent. It's a lot of anxious thinking, which I feel like a lot of people probably deal with, especially now more than ever with the pandemic. So I think that was definitely the biggest struggle. Just, not as much stimulation around me, cutting that out.
Yeah, so for me, it was, I would say like it was the temptation, right? It's just like when like, okay, like, you do it for so long, like, let's say like even for a week, you've never done it before, right? Like making my meals and like eating them on time and like, making sure that like my nutrition is correct. So having the temptation, like, well, I did so good until like, I did so good from like till Monday through Friday. Why not treat myself a little bit and all this and that? Like, those are the things you really got to like fight like when I'm working, it's not too bad because then it's like, all right, I'm occupied with something. But like when it's the weekend, it's usually like, well, like the temptation is much like higher because like I don't have much going on, like just sitting around, not like like I'll do like I'll go to the gym, like make sure like all my stuff is done, but like most of the day is free. So it was definitely like a struggle on that perspective, but it wasn't too bad. You just gotta tell yourself not to do, like just control yourself. That's all it is.
Dan, tell me more about living in the hotel and trying to make food like that wasn't fast food.
Yeah, it was it's been a struggle, but it's I don't have a lot of the distractions like I do at home. So when I'm in the hotel room, it's not like I have to, shovel the driveway. I have to go, take care of something in the yard, stuff like that. So I have a lot of time to cook, but I definitely feel a lot better. And some of my big takeaways will kind of roll into that. Some of my big takeaways as positives out of this in the hotel room would be I'm eating a lot cleaner. I'm eating healthier. I'm feeling better, other than tearing my MCA or whatever. Tearing my MCL. Yeah. I'm not waking up groggy. I kind of backtracked a little bit for a day or so, but I got right back on track because I know the positives of it. So it's good.
How about snacking? Because I know that's something I struggle with, dude. Like sometimes I just find myself waking up at 3 a.m. and knowing I have granola bars like 10 feet away from me. Yeah. And I just down a few of them. Do you stick to like 3 meals and then only snack like certain times, or is it like a free for all with snacking?
But the only 2 certain meals I have during the day is breakfast and dinner. So my lunch is like a snack, and then my dinner is like a feast, which is kind of a bad thing.
I mean, it is what it is. As long as you're doing what you're doing right now, I feel like it's definitely beneficial.
It is, yeah. Because lunch, it's tough. I'd have to go out for lunch, or I could bring something with me. That's the planning out of my day too. But I've gotten better about meal prepping, and cooking in larger quantities. I ended up changing my hotel that I stay at, and I've been buying a lot of fresh vegetables and a lot of fresh fruits and just throwing them into meals too to make them better for me. So
that's good.
Yeah,
maybe what I was gonna say was like maybe you should look into like a NutriBullet or something that you can travel with because it's small, and just have like smoothies or something like that. So
yeah, that's what I do. I use a Vitamix. And I mean, something I always tell people is it's like pre-chewed food because I'm like somebody that, I just down my food. I barely even chew it, which isn't like necessarily the best thing. So I feel like the blender already chews everything for you. So I don't know, maybe that's just positive thinking. Definitely try it out though, Dan.
Remember those big protein shakes we used to make, like the size of the blender?
Yeah, I still do that. It's just less protein powder and more spinach now.
That's probably what I would look at too. A lot of our wants are distractions, and that's the reason that we cut them out in the first place.
Yeah, they definitely are.
That's a really good point right there. I didn't even think of it that way.
Yeah.
Like 90% of it is a distraction.
Yeah, like music, huge distraction for yours.
Fast food, distracting your health.
And it adds convenience, but it does not.
It's like short. It's what do you call it? Instant gratification usually doesn't lead to like long-term success.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like short-term pleasure.
Yeah. That's like I guess the common theme with a lot of the wants, like the music, like all of our wants, and then also like people do a lot of online shopping nowadays. Like you click a button and it's at your doorstep in like 2 days. You get that hit of dopamine every time. Yeah. And it's like that's like most of the time it's a want. Like these freaking blue blocking glasses. I got a little dopamine by buying them. I mean, hopefully they'll work out, but I don't necessarily need them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
it's
think they
it's a
look pretty
tough
cool.
one.
I know.
Smarter.
The whole thing, with our like wants and needs, it doesn't. One thing that's in common, right, is definitely the self-control perspective.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly what we have to teach
Yeah, you're right.
ourselves is the self-control. Because any person that you look at, like any successful person in whatever they're in, right, whatever profession or like whatever they like to do or are successful with, like that's one, like, it applies to everyone. Like if you look, like, self-control. At the end of the day, Phil Heath didn't become Phil Heath with eating whatever he wanted to eat. He actually, like stuck to a legit diet, his like plans. And on the same time, like if you probably look at Bezos probably did the same. Like he could have spent a lot of money, like what he was making at the start, but he didn't. He just kept growing his company, and now look at him, dude's a billionaire.
Yeah.
Right?
That's facts right there.
What were your biggest takeaways, Joe?
Biggest takeaways. There's definitely a few. So number one is sort of just becoming aware of your own thought pattern when you're sitting in silence. Separating yourself from being the one who's coming up with the thoughts, and rather thinking of it as, a lot of times it's just subconscious. So you shouldn't pay too much attention to it, and then don't make too much of it. That's the biggest takeaway. I mean, it's a lifelong learning process with, the whole mindfulness thing. But that's the biggest takeaway. Another one is, Imran just touched on it, the whole discipline thing, to being like, all right, I don't really need music right now, even though I want to do it. Saying like, no, I'll probably be all right. And then doing whatever you're doing without that one. Building that, it gets easier and easier over time. Yeah. I mean, it's not like a linear progression though. It's like sometimes, you don't do as well and you feel like giving up almost a little bit. And then, the next day you might do a little bit better. But like, when you're looking at all the dots, it's like a progression upwards. So ultimately you are progressing in whatever you're practicing. So I think just keeping that in mind to know, not every day is going to be perfect, but I'm working towards something that's valuable. And this is something that I want to keep for a lifetime. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I could just kind of had like a light bulb go off. All these wants, before this process, we saw them as needs sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
And it kind of opened our eyes up of what we truly need to progress and get better over time. Like you're saying, we don't need all these wants, and it kind of stops us from making excuses. So I think that's a big takeaway.
Yeah, that's huge. That just got me thinking. So like when I don't listen to music and I start getting, like a little anxious, you're like, I need this music to distract me.
Yeah,
your brain makes it a need, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, I like that one.
No, that is true.
In the moment, it's like, I need it, and your brain tries to rationalize it.
It's like
we're always rationalizing like our wants and our short-term pleasures rather than, delayed gratification.
It's like smoking. It's literally like smoking. That's what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Little addictions.
My music is my smoking.
Yeah.
So I guess everyone has an addictive personality.
And that's what we just found out. Everybody needs to go and.
Or we all like to be distracted. I mean, that's something that I think
everybody
deals with. Yeah, 100%.
Everybody.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, like everyone, it's not even like distracted. It's more of like occupied, right? So if you're just sitting around and you have nothing,
we need to be constantly stimulated.
Exactly.
Essentially, I mean, I think this is from my own perspective. A lot of the things that I do might be to distract myself from just, either an anxious thought pattern or, discomfort. So we throw in these things like, I'd say like my brain's rationalizing, oh, I need music. So I don't feel like shit while I'm working on something in silence.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
Hey, how much money do you think you saved not spending money on coffee
Oh, let's see.
that you were able to spend in Miami?
Oh, Miami destroyed me. Let's not. I don't even want to talk about it. I'm scared to even open my bank account because I know it's just like not gonna be pretty. But yeah, no, it's like, well, like with the coffee thing, it was like, like it wasn't really a want. Well, it's not a want at all. Like you can make your coffee at home, right? Same thing with like restaurants and stuff. Like you could just make your food at home. It was just the convenience of like having a fresh cup of coffee already made. But I don't know, it's just kind of like I was spending like $3-4 I would say average $3. But when I go to like a coffee shop, that means like my mom, like usually like when I do a trip in the morning, it's usually when I'm dropping my mom off. So that means like I'm gonna have to get her something too. So it's like $6 right there, per day. So
damn, how's your mom feel about you not getting her coffee anymore?
oh, she hates it. She's like, why are we cutting it out? It's so, but like, why are we? I was like, well, I didn't even know you were a part of this. And she's like, well, you still need to take me.
Damn, you got to add her on to these calls, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, no, it's like, it's a good say. At the end of the day, like, like even if I'm saving like $100, $200, right? Like, just by not doing one thing, like that's so amazing.
Yep.
So amazing, Yeah, exactly. So that's the reason. Like that's the reason I did it, because like I wanna, main reason for like our group is to be entrepreneurial. Like, but at the end of the day, we all need capital. So what's the one way you actually get capital is by saving the money that you're making right now by the jobs that we're doing.
Thanks for spending time with T&E, practically unfocused.